What would it be like to go back to 1962 and take an official tour of Disneyland? Well, that is what we're going to do today, because when I was doing some Disney research, I found an actual script from 1962 that the tour guides used to use at Disneyland to take people around the park. So back in 1962, there were 3 wonderful ways to enjoy Disneyland. One of these ways was getting a passport to Disneyland, which gave you admission to all of Disneyland attractions as many times as you wanted. Another way you could explore Disneyland was with the Big Ten Ticket Book, an economical, fun-filled way for the entire family to enjoy Disneyland. The idea was you could get a ticket book for every member of your family, and the adults could go do the attractions that appealed to them, while the children did the rides that they wanted to do. Or the family could just all ride together. The third option for visiting Disneyland was specifically designed for first-time visitors, and this was Disneyland's guided tour. Disney advertised this as, join this exciting 2-hour safari through the unique lands of the Magic Kingdom, sample the adventures of each, discover the delightful sidelights of Disneyland as well as the highlights. You, along with a small group of other visitors, will be escorted by a Disneyland tour guide. Being well-versed in the lore of Disneyland, this interesting and attractive young woman will give you insights and information that will add greatly to the pleasure of your day at Disneyland. But what did the tour entail? Well, using the script from 1962, let's go back in time and take a tour of Disneyland. Welcome to Disneyland. My name is Kate, and I'll be your guide on your tour through the Magic Kingdom. We'll be visiting each of the 4 lands, ending our tour in Tomorrowland. If you have any questions about the park along the way, please feel free to ask and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Also, if I'm walking too fast or not speaking loud enough, please tell me. Now, if you're all ready, we're first going to board the Santa Fe and Disneyland Railroad for an exciting trip encircling the entire park. Here you get a view of our parking area. We have 67 acres in the amusement area of the park and 100 more in this our parking area, which can accommodate more than 9,000 cars and 40 buses. The helicopters you may see flying overhead today offer daily flight service to and from the Los Angeles International Airport. The helicopter landing pad is adjacent to the Disneyland Hotel just across West Street. The elevated concrete beamway you see is a portion of the Disneyland All-Wag monorail system, which will be a part of our tour a little later. Disneyland has many services with which you might not be familiar. Kennel Land is located just to the right of the main gate as you enter. In this direction is Town Square, where construction on Disneyland was first started July 17, 1954. The main gate to Disneyland was opened exactly 1 year later. An impressive retreat ceremony takes place here in Town Square each evening, with the Disneyland band taking part. To date, the total population, that is, the number of guests who have visited Disneyland, is over 32 million. Our record-breaking day was July 4, 1959, when there were 59,845 guests in the park in one day. Across the street in this direction is our Bank of America, open for your convenience until 4 o'clock this afternoon. This bank is unique in that you may do your banking on Saturday, Sunday, or holidays, anytime the park is open. Just down Main Street, we even have a cinema where 6 silent movies are shown continually. The large brick building across Town Square is Disneyland City Hall. If you have any problems, you may take them there, because we all know City Hall has all the answers. While our train is stopped, there are a few things I'd like to tell you about Disneyland. This was actually a 20-year dream of Walt Disney's. It took 5 years to design the park and 1 year to build. Of course, Disneyland will never be completed. Walt has many plans for the future. For instance, the large area here is being transformed into a beautiful New Orleans section complete with a thieves' market, mysterious haunted house, and an authentic New Orleans square. This new area, with all the flavor of quaint old New Orleans, will be completed for next summer. Across the rivers of America is Tom Sawyer's Island, and sailing past is the Proud Columbia, a duplicate of the first American sailing ship to travel around the world. Also sailing down the rivers of America is the Mark Twain riverboat. Mike Fink's keelboats begin their trip around Tom Sawyer's Island from Fowler's Harbor, located on this side of the river. You may be interested to know that the Santa Fe train we are on is a model of the old steam engines used at the turn of the century, rebuilt and constructed at the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank. There are 3 complete trains on our Santa Fe and Disneyland Railroad, and each train may make 13,500 round trips yearly, accounting for over 15,500 miles. Entering the tunnel ahead, we will soon view the highlight of our train trip, the beautiful Grand Canyon diorama. Main Street is patterned after a typical small American town at the turn of the century. All of the business establishments on Main Street were in business at the turn of the century or are of the same type of those found then. The gas lights are authentic and were brought from cities as Philadelphia, Baltimore, and some older sections of Los Angeles. There are many interesting and unusual shops along Main Street I'm sure you'll want to visit later. You may also like to stop by Carefree Corner, the official information and registration center here in the park. They have a registration book from each of the 50 states. They will be happy to present you with a souvenir copy of the Declaration of Independence. Incidentally, if you are just a bit worn out at the end of your tour, remember to stop by the Upjohn Pharmacy for your free vitamin pills. As we walk up Main Street, I will point out the many shops to you so you may visit them after the tour if you like. A small sign above the East Tunnel entrance states, "Here you leave today and enter the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy." Let's now go up Main Street, USA for a look at the world of yesterday. This is Adventureland. Although our smallest land, Adventureland is also one of the most exciting, with its exotic plants and flowers and gift shops featuring unusual imports from many tropic regions of the world. The unique Big Game Shooting Gallery offers to test the skill of all you big game hunters. It's hard to believe that just a few years ago this was all a large orange grove. Now, in this dangerous area of Adventureland, headhunters and wild animals roam alongside the crocodile-infested waters. So with the experienced guide of the jungle, let's begin our journey down the dark and dangerous jungle rivers of the world. Thanks to our courageous guide, we've all returned safely from our jungle cruise. You might be interested in knowing that the animal sounds in our jungle are actually recordings of true jungle sounds, with different sounds for both day and nighttime. In the evening hours, the birds in Adventureland retire, and the frogs and crickets awaken to provide a musical chorus to the night air. Here, adjoining Adventureland, is the new Tahitian Terrace. Adjoining the terrace is Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, an outstanding adventure in eating and entertainment. Here is the Swiss Family Treehouse, inspired by the Walt Disney film Swiss Family Robinson. This is the largest treehouse in the world, standing 80 feet high. In its 30 lofty rooms, visitors gain an unparalleled view of the jungle area. The tree has 150,000 leaves and over 50,000 blossoms. For the botanical-minded, the tree is also known as species Disneydendron giganteum. Now we're going to leave Adventureland for the frontier of the Old West. Frontierland is a tribute to the faith, courage, and ingenuity of the pioneers who blazed the trails across America. We find ourselves back in the exciting days when the story of our country's past was being lived. Across the river, you see Tom Sawyer's Island, a mother's paradise. Here, children may spend hours exploring Old Fort Wilderness, rock caves and formations, suspension bridges, and even go fishing. This island may be reached by taking one of Tom's rafts embarking from Fowler's Harbor. While we are here on the riverfront, I would like to mention that there are almost 2 miles of waterways in Disneyland, of which this river is a part. There are 81 vessels in the Disneyland fleet. These include the vessels you see here, plus those in Adventureland, Storybook Land, the motorboat cruise, and the submarine lagoon. We are next going to take a trip on the Mark Twain. The Mark Twain is an authentic reproduction of the old Mark Twain paddle wheel steamer which operated on the Mississippi River. Powered by twin steam engines which operate the stern wheel, the Mark Twain is 108 feet long and has 3 decks. On weekends and holidays, the young men from New Orleans, an authentic Dixieland jazz band, play for your dancing and listening pleasure as you float down the river. Inside Slewfoot Sue's Golden Horseshoe is one of the most popular attractions in Disneyland. The show has something for everyone. Plenty of good music, lots of laughs, the Can-Can Girls, and even that famous character, Pecos Bill. The show is one of the entertainment highlights here in the Magic Kingdom, and we know you'll enjoy yourself. You should be here at least 30 minutes before showtime in order to find good seats for this free show presented by Pepsi Cola. Showtimes are posted on the front porch. And now, let's take a shortcut through El Zocalo, the Mexican market, over to the little mining town of Rainbow Ridge. This is Rainbow Ridge, gateway to newly discovered nature's wonderland. Here, Walt Disney has recreated some of his famous true-life adventure films. The scenes of these nature stories have been transformed into moving, living characters here in Nature's Wonderland. In a moment, we'll board a mine train for a trip into Beaver Valley and under the falls of Cascade Peak, on to Bear Country, the Great Living Desert, and finally, down into the beautiful Rainbow Caverns colored waterfalls. So if you're all set to see some of the wonders of nature, let's go. You might be interested in knowing that the colored waterfalls are created through the use of fluorescent dyes in the water and blacklight. An elaborate pumping system circulates over 43,000 gallons of water per hour. And now we'll be leaving the Old West and Frontierland. Our next stop will be out on the Central Plaza. From the Central Plaza, you may enter any of the 4 lands or Main Street. Adventureland and Frontierland we have visited. Across the drawbridge and through Sleeping Beauty's castle, Fantasyland. On the opening day of July 17, 1955, Walt Disney lowered the drawbridge over the moat so that children of all ages might return to the land of fantasy. Over here down the Avenue of Flags is Tomorrowland. There are many comments on the landscaping here in Disneyland. Of course, we have many native plants in the park, but we also have specimen plants and trees and tropical plants from all over the world. Our 2-acre nursery just beyond Fantasyland keeps the park supplied with over 500,000 new plants yearly, so that throughout the 4 seasons there are always colorful flowers and trees in Disneyland. We have over 600 different plant species and an untold number of varieties. Now let's go across the drawbridge through Sleeping Beauty's castle and next visit Fantasyland, often called the happiest land of them all. There are many exciting adventures here in Fantasyland for young and old alike. Our King Arthur carousel is the finest of its type in the world, with 72 hand-carved steeds. The themes of the 4 dark adventures in Fantasyland each depict one of Walt's favorite pictures in a most exciting way. The Skyway overhead gives you a wonderful aerial view of the park and will take you through the Matterhorn Mountain to Tomorrowland, or from Tomorrowland to Fantasyland. We are now at the base of Matterhorn Mountain, which is built to a 1/100 scale of the Swiss Matterhorn. This mountain you see here is the highest man-made structure in Orange County. You probably noticed the bobsleds riding down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn and splashing through a glacier lake at the bottom. On weekends and holidays, our 2 young mountain climbers, Hans and Otto, attempt to scale the mountain's treacherous slopes. Now, let's step into the year 1986, when Halley's Comet is due to return, and see what the future holds in the land of tomorrow. Before we glide off on the monorail train, I would like to call your attention to the Disneyland rocket ship behind us, which will take you on an interesting and exciting simulated flight to the moon. The rocket is 80 feet high and was built at the Disneyland Studios in Burbank under the technical direction of Dr. Werner von Braun. This is a scale model of what an actual rocket to the moon might look like in the future. It is interesting to note that Dr. von Braun helped develop simulated spaceflight for Walt Disney before he worked on such activities for the United States government. Over there is the Autopia, the freeway of the future. These cars travel 850,000 miles each year. Each car has a 4-gallon gas tank that will run for 12 hours continuously without refueling. Directly in front of us is the submarine ride. Here at Disneyland, we have one of the world's largest submarine fleets, each named after one of the ships in the United States atomic-powered fleet. Here you may journey through the graveyard of sunken ships, under the polar ice cap, past the lost continent of Atlantis, and witness an underground volcanic eruption. Our submarine fleet travels approximately 20,000 miles each year. We are now going to have an interesting experience on the first daily operating monorail train in the Western Hemisphere, the Disneyland All-Wag monorail system. These futuristic trains, electrically operated and holding 102 passengers, are now in the planning stages for high-speed urban transportation in several large cities throughout the United States. Our trip will take us along the 2.5 miles of elevated beamway to the Disneyland Hotel and back here to Tomorrowland for an exciting aerial view of the entire area. Please follow me as we take the ultra-modern speed ramp to the monorail landing. Watch your step. Here is the art of animation, where you will see the various stages in the development of animation from the beginning of time to the very present. This exhibit will give you an idea of how Mickey Mouse and the whole Walt Disney tradition was born. It takes 3 years to produce a full-length cartoon feature. Here, Disney artists and characters alike combine to show you the technical processes necessary for such an undertaking. You will also have an opportunity to meet the latest Walt Disney character, Ludwig von Drake. Here, the entrance to Tomorrowland is the Avenue of Flags. Lining the path are the flags of our United States, arranged in the order of their admittance to the Union. On each flagpole, you will find the name of the state, the date it was admitted to the Union, and its motto. Here is the World Time Clock, provided by the Timex Corporation and designed by the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. This clock tells the time of day anywhere in the world at a moment's glance. To the left of the Avenue of Flags, you will find the Monsanto Home of the Future. This modern home features such elements as a television doorbell, ultrasonic dishwasher, and a microwave oven which cooks a potato in 3 minutes. The Home of the Future is one of the many walkthrough exhibits in Disneyland which you can visit after the tour without charge. The Bell Telephone Company invites you to see the latest innovations in telephone communications and also the Circarama film America the Beautiful. This unique motion picture is projected on a 360-degree screen completely surrounding the viewing audience. America the Beautiful offers a breathtaking sightseeing experience of our great United States. Now that we have completed our rounds, I would like to thank you for joining our tour and for being such a wonderful group. I have enjoyed showing you the Magic Kingdom and hope you'll enjoy the rest of your stay here in the park. Remember to use your extra ticket for any one attraction in the park, and also try to make it back to Frontierland for the Golden Horseshoe show. The last performance will be at 6 p.m. Disneyland will remain open until 10 p.m. this evening. If you have any questions, anything I might help you with before we part, I'll be happy to assist you. I would like to leave you with this thought. We began our tour in Town Square. There at the base of the flagpole is the Disneyland dedication plaque, which reads, "Disneyland is dedicated to the dreams, the ideals, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration for all the world." We sincerely hope that through your tour today, you have shared in part of this spirit. Thank you for joining me for this tour of 1962 Disneyland. If you're someone who loves Disney history with a dash of encouragement, I hope you'll stick around. And if you're looking for more, please join us for our podcast, Distory with Kate and Kirk.